Hello everyone. So as we have been learning Selenium in all the videos, then we were talking about testing, even we were talking about Maven and all those things, right? But at the end of the thing, what comes into picture is we need to crack the interview. Whatever you have learned and all those things makes you confident how to implement Selenium, how to integrate Selenium with TestNg Maven. But the last thing comes is how to crack the interview, because whatever we do is first step before we implement is the interview. This is the barrier, or this is the first hurdle that we face in our career. So how do we crack interview? What sort of Selenium questions people may ask? So in general, my personal experience when I take the interviews, this is what I ask. Yes, there are many interviews, many sort of questions many people may ask. Okay, so in this video, I am covering specific to Selenium. I am not covering with respect to Java or anything else. I am specifically covering with respect to only Selenium. Okay, so let's start with this. So the first question over here is, so here, what is your role in your organization? Okay, so when you get a requirement, be careful when you are reading your requirements and when you are answering. If it is pure manual, never talk anything about automation. If it is half manual and half automation, your approach of telling in about in interview differs. Okay, so first of all, I'll just give you an overview. How do you tell when they ask what is your role in your organization with respect to pure automation? Just say that if it is pure automation, so say that whatever the manual test cases written by the automation team, we take those test cases and automate those test cases. So those test cases steps, what are the steps written in the manual, actual result, what are the step and what is expected results. So each and every step we will try to automate them. Okay, so along with the automation, whenever there is, because every company follows some process from methodology like agile methodology, waterfall method model or spiral model, some different methodologies what we have, right? So whenever there is any release, so we execute those test cases which are already automated. So those test results which are executed, we manually check which are the failed test cases and make sure that these are real failures. Because when you're running Selenium automation, it is not mandatory that every test case failure is a real failure. There may be environmental issues, there may be Selenium object identification issues, or many other issues. So whatever the failure test cases are there, I manually check them and compare the actual result with the expected result. If they are real failures, then I'll inform the manual team that these test cases are failing and can you, and all those, or I'll inform the client saying that these are the test cases which are failing and we need to raise the bugs. So as an automation engineer, if the test case fails, you have to raise the bug. So again, there are two ways. In my experience, I can say you that in one company when I was working, they used to say if there are any real failures, just send those test cases to the manual team and manual team will raise test bugs. In some companies, they say, I can say in one company where I work, they used to say you raise a bug and label it as automation bug, you raised it as, so that client team, the client would know that these are the bugs raised by the automation team and make sure that those are real failures and all the stuff. Okay, so when you say what is your roles and responsibilities, the first thing is designing the automation test cases, second thing is execution of test cases, third thing is verifying the results, fourth thing is sending the report of your execution results to the end user, that is either it may be client, either it may be manager, either it may be manual testing team, anything. So these will be your roles and responsibilities with respect to automation. It's automation of the scripts if required, integration of these scripts with any continuous integration tool and all those things. Okay, so make sure that you answer in this way. With if it is pure automation. The second thing, if it is automation come manual, so you should be little different in explaining when you say automation come manual. So we follow the specific methodology, either it may be agile, either it may be waterfall and all those things. So I'll take a simple example of agile. Okay, so if I say agile, if we're taking a 4-week iteration, okay, so first week I'll understand the requirements, write the test cases, and second week I do the functional testing, then third week I'll be doing the integration testing, fourth week I'll be doing the regression testing, and will be releasing. So where do I do automation? So guys, in the first week and second week you'll have enough time to do the automation. So the previous implemented features in the previous sprint, those test cases you'll be taking it and doing the automation in the current sprint. So why, you may be getting, why should I am doing the present sprint testing and why I will be doing the previous sprint automation? Guys, remember this, that automation parallel to manual testing can be done if there are a separate automation engineers. But both manual and automation, you are the person doing it, and if you are telling that I am doing both during the sprint itself, it is unbelievable. Because me with 9 years of experience, I can guarantee you, doing both the things at a time within the sprint is not possible. So if someone's try to question you during the interview saying that this is what people do and all those things, blindly say that in my company we had a very tight schedule of 4 weeks, even it may be 4 weeks, but we had many features being implemented, so that was not possible to do the same test cases to be automated within the same sprint, because we may get a wrong build or something may have modified by the developer, new feature implemented, the objects have changed, so many things stuff goes on. So at the time it will be very difficult for me to do the same test cases to be automated. So that's the reason I convinced my client saying that I will do the automation of the previous sprint, the current sprint, and I will be doing the testing, the manual testing of the current sprint within the sprint. Okay, so that's where you can clearly judge yourself or give confident answer to them. Okay, so this is what you need to say, what is your role in your organization. So if you are telling as a lead, if you are applying as a position as a lead, so your task, the first thing is how you are managing your team. This is what you need to say. So your responsibility will be at a higher level, saying that I will be participating in the sprint planning, understanding how many stories going to be implemented and how these stories to be divided between different resources, and how to gather the information about those stories if there is anything lacking, speaking to the development team, speaking to the product management team, speaking to the business analyst team. These are all the different things as a lead you are going to do. Along with that, you are going to support your team as well, that is reviewing your manual test cases written by that team, and you are going to review the automation scripts implemented by them and helping them with the things which they are not able to implement in the automation. Then you are the person who are going to do the user acceptance before giving it to the product management team. You are the person, you are going to make sure that getting the right builds at the right time from the development team. You are the person who will be responsible to do the integration testing, regression results and all those things. You are the person going to communicate with every person within the team and outside the team at the required place. And during the during the release of that particular features after the sprint, you will be taking the responsibility, speaking to the database team, Linux team and everyone during the release, and making sure that everyone is collective, because QA's responsibility is not only testing, Do remember QA's responsibility is beyond testing. That's how QA works. Why am I telling? Just remember there is a great saying in general in the world of IT industry. If everything goes well, development team is appreciated. If even a small thing goes wrong, QA will be pinpointed. This is the strong thing that people believe in IT industry. Okay, so if you are taking the lead role, you have to do all these things. You will be the point of contact for each and every team. You have to defend your team. You have to interact with every team. Okay, so this is your roles and responsibilities within a project. So every day-to-day task, if you are talking about and all those things, so every day-to-day task, just to explain you in a sprint planning with respect to manual automation, in the first week of the sprint, 5 days. So first thing comes is the understanding the stories which are going to be implemented as part of the sprint, and putting the questions whatever that is required as part of that user stories to the product management team, business analyst team, everyone. Then writing the high level test cases of that particular sprint, and then start writing the automation test cases for the previous sprint. Second week, in the second week you'll be maybe getting the initial build, so you'll be modifying your scripts, test cases, sorry, not scripts, test cases, manual test cases which you have written in the first week, and writing the in-depth more test cases with respect to the UI and all those things if you are not getting the UI screenshots in the first sprint itself. Okay, then continuing with the automation scripts of the previous sprint, and by end of the week, second week, maybe Wednesday or Thursday, if you are getting the build, then you are going to start doing the functional testing of the test cases. So whatever the test cases that you have written, you have to give it for the peer review, that is for your colleagues and to your lead, to make sure that everything is according to the stories. Along with that, if required, you should also give your test cases to be reviewed to the business analyst team, because they are the responsible persons for the total project, or the product owner and all those things. Third week, second week, you will be doing the continuous functional testing, you will be logging the bugs and all those things. So third week, you will be doing functional testing and the integration testing. What integration testing? What are the different features implemented by the development team? They integrate all those things and make it a master build and give you a build which is called a code freeze time. That means they are not going to implement any new features, but they are going to do the final build and give it. So they are going to only fix the issues which we are going to log, but not going to implement any new features. Okay, so third week and fourth week, you will be doing integration testing and the regression testing. At the end of the fourth week, you are going to design some test cases which will do the user acceptance test, and by end of the week you will do the production release, and you will make sure that everything is on track. So this is what you can say, something briefly about what are your roles and responsibilities in your organization. Okay,